Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking some time out of all of your busy schedules to join our PaperCut Education Solution presentation this afternoon. I'm very, very excited about this presentation, and as we go through it, I think you're going to be as well. A lot of great information that we're going to discuss. Joining me today from ACDI, thank you to these gentlemen. I've got one of our solution specialists, Mr. Doc Balgi. Doc will be here to aid and assist with answering questions, or even in the chat box, as you can see on the right-hand corner of the WebEx session. So feel free as we go through the webinar, to ask questions. Doc will be manning the question box, and also joining us is our Director of Business Development, Mr. Mark Hart. So I'm Casey Cobb, our Business Development Manager, and again, thank you for joining today. And once we get through the webinar, we will answer questions at the end as well. So let's begin. So, education. When I think about PaperCut MF and education, quite frankly, guys, this is where PaperCut, this is where this product was born, in the education arena. So this is easy. This is exciting to talk about this, and we've put together a lot of great information for you guys today that we're going to go through. And quite frankly, it's going to be a little bit different presentation than what you've seen from us before when we talk about PaperCut and when we talk about education. So buckle up, because it's going to be fun. We're going to learn a lot. But at the end of the day, what are we trying to accomplish? Well, bringing value, obviously, to your customers, because we believe that PaperCut can bring that value to your customers and to really every sale, especially in the education sector. So again, let's get started. So like I mentioned just a few moments ago, it's going to be a little bit different. I want us to sit back and think for just a moment. Think wherever you're located in the U.S., think about your territory, and think about these numbers. I got to be honest with you, before I started doing some research, I had no idea that this is really what the education landscape looked like in the country. Over 130,000 public and private K-12 schools in the U.S. 131,962. It's crazy that there's that many schools, and then over 9,200 2- and 4-year colleges. So I think we would all agree on the call, if we were all having conversations with one another, that that's a lot of opportunity. That's a lot of opportunity in your territories as we get into this presentation today for PaperCut to fit in that education landscape. Let's keep going. Got another number for you. And we're going to talk about this number a little bit later as we wrap up the presentation. That's a crazy number, $584 billion for public elementary and secondary schools projected for the 2016-2017 school year. It's crazy when you think about these numbers, and you think about, I think going back to the previous slide, there's a lot of opportunity out there. We hear it all the time. Where's the value? How can I sell this? As I'm talking to my customers, as I'm trying to prospect, where's the opportunity? So that's what we're going to uncover as we go through this presentation today. But this is what's important. And as you see on the screen here, the education pain points. Now, we didn't just drum this up over the last 2 days and decide that these were the 4 pain points in education. Guys, these are the real pain points. This is what we hear through many years of having meetings with you and your customers, or maybe we haven't met with any of your opportunities. But these are the pain points, and this is what we hear all the time whenever we jump on a meeting, when we travel and we're face-to-face with an opportunity. This is what education and customers are trying to focus on and what they're trying to eliminate. So we're going to take a dive into those and take a little bit deeper dive and uncover the value. And at the end of the day, how does this help you? How does this help you as one of our partners as you're out calling on your customers, trying to sell PaperCut, and again, leading with PaperCut, because what we want is we want to create loyalty. We want to create that stickiness. We want your customers to look at you as a consultant versus just a sales rep. I think that's what we all want, right? So one of the pain points when we think about education, information technology, reducing exposure to information and security threats. So what does that mean just out of the box? We go right to secure print release. And here's what I want to do as we go through this webinar today. This isn't just about a feature dump. I want to make that real clear because, quite frankly, if any of you have been on any of our training sessions in the past or you know about PaperCut, you most likely know about the features. But let's start to peel back the onion just a little bit. Let's not just do a feature dump, but what's important with these features? At the end of the day, I want each of you on this call, whether you're a veteran in the industry or you're a rookie in the industry, I want you on this call after we hang up to feel comfortable to go in and say, you know what, I know what to talk about now. Maybe I felt uncomfortable before, but through this conversation, this has helped me realize some things. So when I think of secure print release, of course we think of security. We think of confidential documents, and yes, that's important. The ability to send a print job, and through a license that we provide for your copy machines, to be able to see something like this on the screen. It's important, but I think of more than just a secure print release whenever I think of this. I look at this screen and I think, you know what, if I can see a list of my jobs, I can delete jobs, I can release the jobs. But let's back up even more as you're out making calls, as you're walking into a school district, as you're visiting with an IT director, a superintendent, the president of a college, whomever that might be. Think about all of the paper waste, and we're going to talk about this as we get a little bit further into the fiscal responsibility, but we're tying all this in together because, quite frankly, it all overlaps. But think about when you walk in and you make observations of the environment that you're in, and I always encourage you to do that because it can help you get into talk track and get into the product. Ask your customers, do they have abandoned print jobs that just seem to sit on the copy machines? When I think of security, I don't just think of being able to release print jobs, but I think of jobs that sit there, somebody doesn't go pick up their job, and then all of a sudden they go to the machine and the paper's not there. Well, what's happened? Well, somebody's walked up and grabbed that stack of paper. And as they're thumbing through the paper, all of a sudden they might see a confidential document. Staff member, a student, it doesn't matter. Well, so the person starts to panic. They go back to their desk and reprint it. They come back, and guess what? There's not only the document that they just reprinted, but the document that's sitting there as well from where they printed before. Well, that could have been eliminated with this. Security. It's extremely important. And then think about this. Think about paper waste. What a lot of you might not know as we talk about secure print release, and as even we get into Find Me printing, you know, the jobs are held in a virtual print queue. Well, those jobs can sit in that print queue as long as that customer wants them to. We have a lot of customers that will actually, they'll set a time limit on how long that job sits in that print queue, and once it reaches that time limit, or even a few minutes before the time limit, we can send a message or a pop-up to that user basically stating that in 5 minutes your job is going to purge out of the queue. In other words, if you want it, go securely release the job. But here's what we're going to find. Those customers are going to find that they're going to start saving money because what happens when we print? Waste, waste, waste. I can't tell you how many documents personally I've printed over the years that just sit there, or I go pick them up and throw them away for whatever reason. A lot of times not a good reason, but it happens. Imagine one of your customers to be able to, out of the gate, when we talk about an ROI and a return on investment, imagine them being able to see how many jobs went unreleased out of that print queue and how much money that saved them right out of the gate. So think about it. We're talking about security. If you'll remember, one of the pain points was fiscal responsibility. So we hadn't even gotten into that yet, but you can see how all of these start to bleed together. And then let's take it a step further with what we all know PaperCut does is track printing, but even more than that. We can do print archiving as you see pictures or thumbnails of print jobs within the web-based dashboard. Administrators can turn this feature on or off, implement it for certain groups, or even limit access to whomever logs into the dashboard so they can't see private documents. But a great feature and can really bring value. And here's what I think about. I think about the K through 12. There is not one K through 12 that we have meetings with that they are not concerned about budget and saving. And if they're really concerned, being able to see what's being printed would be extremely valuable for them. And then, of course, watermarking. Some of you on the call probably have never heard us talk about watermarking with PaperCut, but a great feature and something that can be beneficial as well when we're talking about security. Let's keep going. Our second pain point, data-informed decisions. And you can read it here, ensuring that business intelligence reporting and analytics are relevant, convenient, and used by administrators, faculty, and students. Well, so what does that mean? Several things. First and foremost, our web-based dashboard. I've mentioned it a few moments ago. If you've been on any of our presentations over the years, you've heard us talk about the dashboard. You've even heard us relate the dashboard to online banking. I don't know about you guys, but before this call today at 1 o'clock, I probably logged into my online banking at least 3 times. And yes, my wife has managed to spend money this morning without even leaving the house. I don't know how it's possible. I do with all of the online shopping. But again, I'm able to log in and see that information. So the same rules apply. So just being able to sell a dashboard, just print management, who, what, when, where, why, and how, a transparency into their environment that they didn't have before. And to take it a step further within that dashboard, reporting, system alerts. Again, getting back a few moments ago when I painted the picture about secure print release and jobs sitting in a queue, automatically deleting, saving money. Think about filters, the second one in the middle there on the left, filters and restricting print jobs. There's many things that can be done, charging rules that can be done to help save money and bleeding right into fiscal responsibility, quite frankly. Develop funding that sustains core services, support innovation, and facilitate growth. Again, I mentioned a few moments ago, we never have a meeting with a K through 12 that they don't mention they want to save money. That's just a part of what they're trying to accomplish because they're under such tight budget constraints. Think about being able to implement print policies. And guys, quite frankly, it's all the way that you sell it. Again, I want to get back to the observations. I'm big on this. And a lot of it is because I'm a very observant person. When I walk anywhere, I've probably already noticed 3 or 4 things by the time I walk in the door. But think about as you walk into your schools, you walk into these customers' locations, take a look around. Do they have desktop printers sitting on every one of the desks? And are they color? So you can make a pretty good assumption, all of you being in this business, to know that it's pretty expensive to maintain a desktop printer. I don't know exact figures, but I know that it's more expensive to maintain a desktop printer than it is one of your copy machines. Imagine being able to have print policies, being able to redirect print jobs, being able to suggest smarter ways to print. Here's what's beautiful about PaperCut, and something that you've probably heard us say before, and I'm going to say it again, and I haven't said it today, is that all of these features are included in this product. It's all inclusive. So you don't have the stress as a rep to have to worry about, okay, what does this customer need? I need to be thinking about this as I'm calling on them. You don't have to worry about that. You sell them PaperCut. You open up a conversation based off observations or just simple questions, and then we get into those types of discussions. But guys, if we've heard it once, we've heard it a million times, especially an IT director. I can hear it now. No, I can't limit print jobs. I can't make people stop printing from their desktop printers. I can't do all of that because I'm going to have a revolt on my hands. I'm going to be filled up with emails, voicemails, nasty grams, whatever that might be. Well, what if we could educate the user? What if we could educate them? What if we could suggest being smarter when you print? What if we could suggest this is going to benefit your district and the budgeting for the district? Things like that make sense, and they work. And this is something that customers ask for. As a matter of fact, I remember the early days of PaperCut, all we heard was find me printing, find me printing, find me printing. That's still an important feature because it has to do with security, but rules-based printing. And how can I limit color? How can I convert to duplex? How can I reroute print jobs? How can I implement print policies where you can't print email attachments? So many things that we can do here that will be beneficial for the customer. Shared accounts, departments, locations, whatever you want to call them, that's what this is. I hear it all the time. I don't necessarily care what each user is printing. I want to be able to see what every location is printing. As a matter of fact, I was on a meeting recently with one of our reps in a school district. That is exactly what they said. I want to be able to see what all 14 or 15 of my locations are printing. I know it's out of control. We've got abandoned print jobs sitting on the copy machines. We need a secure print release. I'm concerned about security. What can we do? Will your product do this? Can I add every location into PaperCut, and each teacher that's associated with that location, when he or she prints, I can see that it came from that location? Absolutely, we can do that. Again, I get back to K through 12 because they're more concerned about that bottom budget. They've got a certain amount to spend, and they're looking for a return on investment. So we hear this all the time. This is something that our entire sales team hears, is department level, location level, chargebacks, and tracking. Very important. Print quotas. Let's talk about higher education for just a moment. Take into account what they might already be doing. You know, as you're talking to your customers, hey, are you charging students for any prints or copies? You know, if they are, then they have to be using a product, hopefully PaperCut or one of our competitors, hopefully not, but, you know, they might even charge a technology fee. Hey, do you charge a technology fee for your students? As a matter of fact, we do. So you could just bleed into a quota conversation. Well, listen, we've got this great product where you can actually keep charging that technology fee, and then we could add a quota to all of the students' accounts. And then once they exceed that quota, we have multiple ways for them to be able to add money onto an account. It could be a payment gateway or an existing campus card solution like Blackboard or Seaboard or Heartland payment gateways. There's so many different ones that are out there. Or guess what? For those of you on the call who did not know, ACDI has been manufacturing vending hardware or payment devices since 1994. So we have anything and everything that you need if it's a mixed bag. Maybe you have a college that needs PaperCut, and they also need some coin ops or card readers for guests or visitors, or simply just to utilize a revalue or pay station for the students. So those are questions that you'll want to ask and get to the bottom of. Let's talk about student success. This is important because we want to improve student success and completion, as you can see here. How do we do that? Well, let me tell you, the first one here with mobile and BYOD printing, I want to read you guys a few stats on this. This is a big one. And if you're not hearing about mobile printing and bring your own device printing in the market right now, you're going to. Most of you on the call, you're probably already hearing it. I can assure you that we are hearing it. But let me read a couple of stats to you that really stood out to me. Mobile workers will account for nearly 3/4, which equates to 72% of the U.S. workforce by 2020. Right now, we're at 96.2 million workers versus 5 years from now, 105.4 million workers. And this is according to Quocirca. 83% of customers are interested in some form of mobile printing, but only 14 deploy a mobile printing solution. 83% interested, 14% deploy. Those are crazy stats. Those are stats that tell us there is a lot of opportunity for mobile printing, guys. We're in the Generation Z now. I know all we talk about is millennials. That's all we hear. But quite frankly, there's a new generation coming behind them. And every one of them have a cell phone in their pocket at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I have a 12 and a 13-year-old, so I witness it firsthand. Guys, these stats are real. mobile printing could just be a lead-in for a lot of what you do in the education space. I don't care if it's K through 12 and they have Google Chromebooks or they have an iPad for every classroom or whatever it might be, from phones, tablets, to laptops. PaperCut can address all of these needs for your customers. This should be a big part of the talk track that you are going into with them. So keep that in mind. Don't overlook the mobile piece. We can meet that need with PaperCut and other products if necessary going forward. Serverless and direct printing, that's another big buzzword we're hearing right now, is serverless printing. Don't kid yourself. The server is still required, okay? But what I really want to address here is the direct printing module. In the past, we've always strongly recommended a print server, but what's great about PaperCut now is we can install PaperCut in a direct printing model and be able to accomplish all of what we're talking about as well. End-user web tools, this is very, very important and something you might not be aware of, but let's just say in a higher education environment, for example, each student can have their own web interface. By logging in with their username and password, they can see how much they've printed, where they printed it, just a lot of information. They can add money through a payment gateway there. They can see how much a job would cost at this machine or that machine, black and white versus color. So we want to equip the students. And like it says, student success, we want to help them be successful. And of course a web print feature which allows for off-network printing, which can be very beneficial. So we've addressed the pain points. Again, the 4 pain points are very important, and we believe that will help bring a lot of value as you're out talking about PaperCut. Some differentiators with PaperCut, and I'm not going to read every one of these bullet points to you, but just a couple of them that stand out. Brand neutral. So for those of you on the call who carry multiple brands, PaperCut is compatible across the board with all of the major OEMs from a licensing perspective for the devices. Cross-platform, that's huge, especially in education as you get into mixed environments. A lot of great information here. Competitive comparison. Again, I'm not going to read every one of these bullet points to you, but one of the things I want to focus on the left under us is the great support. Guys, we have divisions within our company, and our professional services division is by far our largest division and growing. So it's important to us that you understand the level of support that we can offer you, not only from an installation perspective, but from an ongoing support perspective as well. But again, I mentioned a few moments ago, ROI. Remember, if you can show an administrator, an IT director, after 1 month of using PaperCut, just how many jobs went unreleased out of the virtual print queue just using secure print release, and they can see that savings that they couldn't see before, that's ROI in weeks, months. So they don't know what they're doing anyway. They can't manage what they can't measure, is what we like to say. A lot of great information at their fingertips. So I'm going to wrap up the call today, probably in about the next 5 minutes, to talk about ACDI. I want to make sure that you understand that we have a fantastic pre-sales support team. Doc, who I mentioned a few moments ago, who's joined us for the call today, Doc is a member of our pre-sales support team. He's one of our solution specialists. We have a great team of regional managers as well that most of you probably know who they are, but sometimes we do need to get one of our technical folks involved, and they bring great benefit and value to any conversation that you might have. We have a business development team that I actually manage, a great team that's here to search out those opportunities, build those relationships, and work with you guys, as well as our regional team. So a lot of resources here for you from a sales perspective and a pre-sales support perspective. Marketing goes without saying. We have a fantastic marketing team, a lot of great info on our website. Quotes and orders. Guys, this team is growing as well. It is important to us that you get your quotes in a timely manner and that orders are processed in a timely manner. It is a priority to us, okay? If you're in a situation where you feel like you're not getting things turned around as quick as you would like, please let your rep know, or you can let me know, and we'll make sure that we get that to you as soon as possible. One of the most important roles at our company, and some of you on the call probably know who your project coordinator is our project management team. We have great project coordinators. That team has recently grown as well. These folks are there post-sale. They are there to coordinate pre-install calls, installs, and quite frankly, you're going to get to know these people. The more business you do with us, you're actually going to create a relationship with your project coordinator. So a very important role that we have. Our installation services go without saying. We are here to install and configure the product for you. Integration is big. We have developers on staff. I know one of the software products that I think of right off the top of my head that a lot of higher education or even education uses is Banner. So a lot of customers want an integration between a product like Banner and, they want certain data imported and exported in and out of PaperCut and Banner for better reporting, if you will. So integration, like it said, deliver an enhanced experience between different software products, and of course our professional services support. So needless to say, we have the ongoing support available. So as we wrap up, we get right back to this number. That's a big number. And this is how we're going to finish. And obviously, I do see some questions coming in. And, Doc, thank you for jumping on those and answering those questions. But you can read it for yourself. I mean, it's no wonder that K through 12 and higher education is using PaperCut. Robust, feature-rich, all-inclusive software product. It's easy to use, easy to support, and the mixed fleet, that goes without saying. But let me wrap up by saying a lot of opportunity. We've gone through some numbers. We've gone through some features and benefits. I hope we're remembering the benefits. We're remembering the value and what they bring. And remembering the stats. Remember those mobile printing stats, guys. I cannot stress that enough. We are getting eaten up with mobile printing opportunities. So remember that. Again, 83% of people are interested in mobile printing, but only 14% deploy a mobile printing solution. They don't know where to turn. And who better than to turn to you and then turn to us to provide that solution? Recognition, you've probably heard this over the years. We're very proud of these, the Buyers Lab Awards. So obviously, we're all very excited. A lot of you probably have Buyers Lab Awards in your showroom. That is all that we have today. That wraps up our presentation. Thank you again for attending. Now we'll transfer or move over, I should say, to the Q&A. It looks like Doc has been handling most of the questions.
I had just the one
Doc.
there. There's a Q&A one that I'm not sure what the question is. Casey, maybe you can review that one as well.
Yeah, Doc, I'm like you. I'm trying to review it, but I don't feel like I can see. Here we go. I was able. So, Emmanuel, thank you for your quote. Web address for submitting quotes. Great question. So, it is our website. So, ACD-INC.com. And right in the middle of our web page, it says request a quote, and once you select that, it will allow you to request a PaperCut quote, and we also have some of our other products there as well. And guys, again, I'm going to go ahead and make a plug. We do have other products that we offer. We have an enterprise search product called FileSite. It's a great solution, and mobile printing product, Printer On, as well as obviously PaperCut and our hardware. Okay, great. Thank you, Emmanuel. Doc, if I'm like you, I'm having a little bit of an issue. I'm having a little bit of an issue seeing the Q&A questions. Not sure why either.
Maybe if you I just closed the chat and was able to see this question. The first slide detailed the total available market. However, since this type of solution has been available in higher ed for a while, can you give a new-to-the-industry guy a sense of how many higher ed schools are still wide open for the AHA? From my personal experience, it happens all the time.
Yes. Yes, agreed. I'll echo that, Doc. Thank you, Kevin, for the question. There there's a lot. I mean, we continue to have opportunities flood into us. Think about this also, guys. It's about to be into the RFP season as well. The summer times is a busy time for education. So quite frankly, this is why we're having the education webinar in May. So think about that. This is a perfect time for you guys to be able to go out and start prospecting and start calling on those schools. Maybe it's an existing school customer you already have, or another one that you're trying to win over. So a great time, because a lot of schools like to start now, get through the process, and have everything up and running by the time school will start, for the upcoming year.
One thing I'll point out, Casey, is that I worked in dealerships for many years before joining ACDI, and one thing that I found out about, and I was even a member of the school board officials just to get a sense of what they were doing and their needs, and I have found in every market that the educators talk to each other about what they're doing. Corporate America doesn't. They keep everything a secret, and what we're doing, we're going to contain. But folks that are in education tend to share and talk, and they also want to know from other schools what's working and what did you do to implement to cure this solution. With the spread of PaperCut in education, it's very cool, because we have a lot of self-marketing that goes on, because our name comes up all the time. So if you're not leading with PaperCut as you go in, you might want to reconsider, because most likely they may have heard about PaperCut but might not know all of the stuff that Casey was just talking about, which you can bring to the table for that aha moment with your customer. I'll go, oh my gosh, I've heard of PaperCut. They're doing that, but I didn't know it did all that stuff. Thank you for letting me know. Let's talk about this, etc.
Yeah, I like that, Doc. That's a good point. Is we just landed a prominent school district here in Arkansas where we are headquartered, and around that school district there are a lot of different school districts, and I can assure you that's exactly what's going to happen here. So that's a great point to bring up. Is you're right, they do talk. They are going to talk to one another, relationships that they already have within that industry. So yes, keep that in mind as well. Any other questions? We'll give it another few seconds here. But engage us. Let us know if you have opportunities. Your regional reps, just reach out to us. We're here for you. We want to be able to assist in any opportunities that you guys might have. Okay. Looks like we won't have any more questions. Again, thank you for everyone's time today and attending. Spread the word. We will have another webinar on Thursday, July 1st. Again, a quick reminder, that will be at 11 a.m. Central, will be the technical webinar, in which Doc will be hosting. And then again, I will be hosting the 1 o'clock Central Time webinar on Thursday, June 1st as well. So thank you again for your time, and we look forward to talking to all of you soon.